So in this video, I'm going to explain about Python classes and Python objects. Now let us see what is a class and object. Now class is a logical entity which contains a logic. Class is a logical entity which contains a logic. And a class contains variables and methods. So normally the logic will be included in the methods. And additionally, we can also create variables within the class. And an object is a physical entity which is created for a class. An object is a physical entity which is created for a class. And we can create any number of objects for a class. We can create any number of objects for a class. And in other words, we can say a class is a blueprint of an object. A class is a blueprint of object. So for example, what is a blueprint here? Suppose if you want to construct a house, we will have some blueprint, right? This is some plan. So this is a blueprint. And this will not occupy any memory location. This is just like a structure or a blueprint. By using this, we can construct the building. So based upon the plan, if I construct the building, right? So this is a physical entity and it will occupy a certain number of space here. Similarly, a class is a blueprint. That means it contains some logic, methods and everything, but it doesn't occupy any memory space. And once we created an object for that particular class, and then it will occupy the memory. So what is a class? Class is a collection of methods and variables. Class contains methods and also variables. And if you want to access those variables and methods, we have to create an object for that particular class and then we can use it, right? Now let us see different ways of creating classes, how we can specify the variables, how we can define the methods within the class, and how we can access them. So these things we have to see now. Now let's start with this. So we will see a few examples one by one. So let's start with how to create a basic class and object which include methods. Now I'll show you practically how we can create a basic class, and also we'll create a few methods within the class, and then we will access those methods using an object. Now let me open PyCharm. So here I'm just creating a new Python file. So I will name it as a classes demo. Now okay, so now I have just created a Python file. So now let me define a class here. So how to declare a class? So we can declare a class like this, class and then class name and colon. So here we can write a method. So for the first method I will write like div, so my function, right? So here, and self is a basically is a keyword which says like this function is belongs to this particular class. Now here if I don't want to write any body in this particular method, we can just use a DOS keyword, so it will just omit the body of this method. And then I can also create one more method, let's say div display, and here okay, this method is also belongs to my class, but additionally I want to pass some parameter to this method. Okay, so we can just say comma name, so some parameter I will pass later. Now the same parameter I will just print it here. So here I'll just say name is, right, comma name, I'll just print that name. So this is a basic class which I have defined with two methods. One is my function and the other one is display function. So my function, by default every function or method within the class will take a self keyword. So what is self means is this particular function or this particular method will belongs to this particular class. So here we need to understand two terminologies, very important. So one is function, okay, the other terminology we have is a method. So here there is small difference between function and method in Python. So technically both are same, but logically there is theoretically there is small difference between function and method. So for example, if you go for C language and C++ language, there we have a functions, because there we don't support the classes. Especially for C language, we don't support any classes, right? So there we will create some function and we can call that function any number of times. So function is nothing but a piece of code which we can reuse that function, or whenever we need a function we can just make a call and get job done. That is a function, purely function. But when you come to the Java, right, in Java the basic thing is a class. So without a class we cannot write anything. So where we have to write these functions in Java? we must write these functions within the class itself. So in that context, we call them as a methods. So to differentiate these terms, we have to use a function is a name and method is a name. In C and other structural programming languages, we call that as a function. So without class, if I define a piece of code, that's called as a function. And if I create the same function within the class, that is called as a method. So in Java, without class, we cannot create function anywhere. So we must create a class, and within the class, we have to include the function. In that context, we call as a method. But in come to the Python, Python will support both. We can create functions, we can also create method. So technically there is no difference between function and method. If I create this function within the class is called as a method. And the same function, if I create outside of the class is called as a function, pure function. So there's a basic difference between function and method. So just remember this. So function and method. So when I create a function within the class is called as a method. A function, if I create outside of the class, right? So that is called as a pure function, not a method. All right. Now let's see this. So here I have just created a function, a class called my class, which contains two methods. One is my function and display. Now once we created this class, how we can use this class, right? So if you want to use this class, we must create an object. So through object only we can call these functions. And one more important thing, every function by default or every method in the class by default will take one keyword called as a self. So self is representing these methods or belongs to this particular class. And the first method is not taking any parameters. So self will be treated like a keyword which says like this function or method is belongs to this particular class. But in the second method, along with the yes self, I have also passed one more parameter called as a name. So this will be considered as a parameter. Now, if I want to access this particular class, I have to create an object. How to create an object in Python is very simple. Let us say my class and bracket, and then store that into a variable as a MC. Now this MC is a reference variable and my class is an exact object. Whenever I say my class, it will create a memory location. That memory location will be identified or referring by this MC. Okay, so this is called as object, and this is object reference variable. So by using this variable, I can access those methods. Let's say MC dot my function, MC dot my function. So here MC is an object, my function is a method which is created under class. All right. So now we have done this. So I think method name is wrong. Oh, my func is correct. Let me verify. MC is equal to my class, and just I'm taking this my function and calling it here. Right. So and then I need to also call display method here. I will just call the display method, and there is something wrong here. And print function, right? And I have used name comma name. All right. Okay, so here a small indentation error, so we have to start from here. So MC is a object reference variable, and then my class. So here I will just call that function. Let's say MC dot my function. Right, the first function is not taking any parameters, and also we haven't specified any body for this, so it doesn't return anything. And then I will also call display function by using this object MC dot, right? So MC dot display, MC dot display, and this function will return will take some parameter called as a name, right? You can just pass that value. Let me pass something called as a Scott. Now let's run this code, and this will give you name is Scott. So this is a output of this particular function, or this is a calling method. Okay, so the my function is also called, but inside this we haven't written anything, so it doesn't return anything here. All right. So this is how we need to create a basic class which contains methods. One method will not take any parameter, the other method is taking some parameter, and then I have created an object for this class, and then I have called those methods. So this is a basic example of creating a class which contains a few methods, and how to create an object and how to call those functions. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. So instance method and static methods. So within the class, we can create two types of methods. The one is called as instance method and the other one is called as static method. Now let us see what is the difference between instance method and a static method. Let's go here. Let's say remove here. I will create a new class now. So here I'm going to demonstrate instant method and static method. Instant method and static method. Now let us see what is instance method, what is static method. So here I will just create a new class called as a my class. Alright. And then within the class I will create a function called def. Let me just give as a m1 is my function name, self as a keyword. And then here I will just print some value. So here this is called as an instance function, instance method. So what is instance method is when I create a method within the class, by default that is an instance method. When I create a class, when I create a method within the class, by default this is a instance method. By default it is a instance method. So this is instance method. By default it is an instance method. So if you want to call this function or if you want to call this method, we must create an object, and through that object we can call this function or call this method. Now I will create one more method which is a static method. So similarly definition is same again. So def, I'll create one more method m2. Alright. So here m2 is a method and this is also belongs to the same class, right? So here I will just write a method message called print, right? So this is your static method. This is your static method. This is your static method. Now observe this. So I have created two functions or two methods. Both are seems very similar, right? But if you want to make this method as a static method, we must specify uh, one modifier, let's say at the rate static method. So this is a static method. So this is a parameter which we need to add. This is a keyword which we need to add before starting the function or method. So this becomes a static method now. So this is a static method. Now there is a difference between calling those methods. So now I have created one class which contains a instance method, and also I have one more that is called static method, right? Now let's call those functions. Now come back. So let's create an object for this. Let's say my class, and I'll store that into an object. Let's say mc is equal to, now using this mc, right? So I can just call m1 function directly. So this is an instance method. When I call this, it will just print the output like an instance method. So it is giving this output. But now how we can call this static function or static method? So static methods we can directly call by using class name. We no need to create any object. But in Java we have static methods, static variables. But here we have only static methods. We don't have static variables. So here once we created an object, through object we can just call the methods which are instance methods. But when I say a method is a static method, so those methods we can directly call by using a class name, right? Now let me call them. So let's say my class name is a my class, right? So my class dot, the function name is or method name is m2, right? So this is how we need to just call it. Now when I run this code, this will give you an error. So why it is giving an error here is m2 missing one required positional argument, self. So by default the static method doesn't take any parameter. Okay, static method doesn't take any parameter. So when I run this code, so you will get this message, instance method or static method we create. See this carefully. The first method is a instance method, the second method is a static method, and instance method means we must specify the self keyword. So this is belongs to this particular class. Even m2 is also belongs to the my class, but static method we should not specify any self keyword here. Okay, so for example, when I say self here, what happens? So now I have provided self, what happens? So when I say self here, just like other methods, it will throw some error, right? What kind of error it is throwing? m2 missing one required positional argument self. What does that mean is, in static method, if when I say self here, that will be treated as a normal variable or argument. Okay, so this self is different than this one. So in the normal method, when I say self, that means this method is belongs to this particular class. But in case of static method, when I say self here, that will be an argument. So when I call this m2 function or method, we must pass some value here. Okay, we must some value. So suppose I'll say some 10. Now I'm passing some value to this, and now when I run this code, it will exactly print the same thing. So what we understood based on this is, in a normal function or normal method, if I say self, that method is belongs to the class. Especially for static methods, don't take any parameters here, not even self keyword. But when I say self keyword here, that method, that self keyword will be treated as a argument. So we must pass some argument when I call this m2 function or m2 method. Okay, so this is the basic difference between instance method and the static method. So how we can create a static method? We just say at the rate static method, so keyword before defining the method, so that method will become the static methods, and these static methods can be directly called by using class. All right, so this is a basic example for instance method, the static methods. Instance method, static method. So instance method we can call by using an object. Static methods we can call directly by using a class. So that is the concept of instance method and static method. All right, now let us see. So we also seen a static method with parameter, right? When I pass some parameter here, this will be received here, and right. So we can also print this value here. So instead of printing static method message here, I can just print the self, but that will be treated as a argument, right? So we can directly print here. Now when I run this code, so this will print you value 10. So static methods we can also pass some parameter, but here we don't use self keyword for static methods. Remember this. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. So we have seen static method with parameters also, and then we'll see declaring variables inside the class. Declaring variables inside the class. So far in the first three examples, we declared only methods within the class. We declared methods within the class. And now I'm going to show you how to declare the variables within the class. So in the beginning, I told you class is a collection of methods as well as variables, right? So far we have seen how to define the methods, but now I'm going to show you how to declare the variables within the class. Now go to PyCharm. Let me remove that. Now I'm going to show you how to declare variable inside the class. How to declare the variables inside the class. So now I'm creating a new class called again my class. All right. So here directly I can specify the variable. Let's say a comma b 100 comma 200. A comma b equal to 10 comma 20 or 100 comma 200. So these are class variables because we created these variables within the class. Okay. And then along with these variables, I will also create two functions, two methods. There's a def add method. Okay, so add method. So this is a normal method, instance method. So self should be there. And then here I will just add these two values. Okay, observe this. I am going to add these two values. Observe this carefully. Here I'm just say print. Okay, I'll print. So what is these variables? These variables are the class variables. Remember this. These are all the class variables. These are all class variables. So if you want to access these class variables, right? So we should use a self keyword. So directly you cannot access. Let's say self dot a, all right, plus self dot b. So this is how we need to access the class variables. So class variables we can access by using a self keyword. Okay. So if I use self keyword within the method, that method is belongs to this class. When I use even if you want to access this class variables, we have to use a self keyword. So self dot a will read the value from A, and self dot B representing the 200. All right. And similarly, I will also create one more function or one more method, def multiplication, and this is also belongs to same class. Here I will access again same variables. Let us say self dot A and star and self dot B. All right. Now this will print multiplication, right? So now let us call those functions one by one. So So how to call these functions or how to call these methods? So we have to create an object for this class, right? So now I'm going to create an object for this, my class. So here I'll just say MC is equal to my class. Now by using this object, I can access these two methods. Now let us try to access. Let's say MC dot add. So we no need to pass any parameters, right? So MC dot again a multiplication. Now what happens? We just created an object for my class, and then I have called add method of multiplication. So internally, this method will read the values from a comma b. So this is how we have to read class variables, by using self keyword. Now let's run this code, and then it will give you. So a plus b, 100 plus 200 is 300, and a star b is a 20,000. All right. So this is how we need to declare variables inside the class. And self is a keyword. Self dot a, self dot b is representing exactly class variables, representing the class variables. Right. Now we have three different type of variables actually. So we have local variables, we have class variables, and we have global variables. Now in the next example, I'll show you. I will define local variables and class variables and global variables, all types of variables, and then I will show you how we can access those variables. But in this example, I just shown you class variables, and class variables we can access by using self keyword. All right. Now let's move on to the next example. So local variables, class variables, global variables. We have three types of variables. What is local variable? Local variable means whatever variables we created within the method, right? Within the method is called as a local variable. And whatever variables we created inside the class are called as a class variables. And whatever variables we created outside of the class are called global variables. Okay, normally what is a class here? Class is class we have. So in this class we have this is a within the class, right? So this is say this is a method. This is your class. This is your method. Okay, and where this class is present within the file. Within the file it is present, right? So when I create a variable within the method, suppose here that will be local variable, can be accessed only within this method. And when I create a variable here, that is a class variable. So this can be accessed by using self keyword. When I create a variable here, that means outside of the class will be global variable. This is our global variable. All right. Now I'll show you an example for local variables, class variables, and global variable, how we can define them and how we can access them. Now let's go to practical part. So here I'm going to show you local variables, class variables, and global variables. Let us see an example here. So first of all, what I can do is I will just create a class here. Okay, class my function. Class my function. Sorry, this is class, right? So my class. Let's say my class. Class my class colon. Right. So here within the class, if I create a variables like this, let us say a comma b and is equal to 10 comma 20. So within the class I am creating, so these are called as a class variables. These are called class variables, right? So out of the class, suppose here if I create variables, let's say I comma j, right? And here I say 15 comma 25. So here if I create a variables outside of the class called as a global variables. These are called as a global variables. So global variables means we have created outside of the class before class is started. And after the class started, within the class we created two more variables called as a class variables. Right? Now I will create a function here or method here. So def add function or method. So here self is a keyword which says this method is belongs to this class. And then I will also create two parameters here. Let's say x comma y. Right? So here these x comma y called as a local variables because these are all defined within the method. So here x and y are called as local variables. Local variables. Now come to this method. So let's implement this method. Here within this method I will access local variables. I'll access class variables and also I'll try to access global variables. Now let us see how we can access different type of variables within the method. Now first when I say here print x plus y. Print x plus y. So if I say x plus y directly, so this will representing the local variables. Directly representing the local variables. Here we are accessing local variables. So here we are accessing local variables. X and y are local variables. Now here within the method, I want to access class variables. I want to access class variables. Now I can how we can access class variables we have seen in the previous example. We have to use self keyword, right? So if I want to access a class variable, we must specify self dot x and plus self dot y. Sorry, we have a and b, right? So a and here this is b. So A and B are class variables. So how we can access the class variables within the method? By specifying self keyword. So here we are accessing class variables. We are accessing class variables. Now how we can access the global variables? How we can access the global variables? So if you want to access the global variable, we directly can access like this. Let's say print I plus j. Print I plus j. So that means we can directly access the global variables anywhere. So global in the sense they are not belongs to either class or method anywhere. It belongs to everywhere. So we can directly access the global variables. Now observe this carefully. If I create variables outside of the class called as a global variables, when I create variables within the class are called as a class variables. When I create variables within the method are called as a local variables. So local variables directly we can ask x plus y. So these are x plus y representing the local variable, and we can directly use this variable. And a and b are class level variables, class variables. So class variables we have to refer by using self keyword. And the global variables we can directly use it. Directly we can access it, right? So now if I want to call this method, we must create an object for my class, right? So let me create an object for my class. And let's create an object as mc is equal to my class. Now I will call that method mc.add. mc.add. So two parameters we need to pass, right? Add method will take two parameters x1 z, right? So here I will pass 100 and 200. Now what could be the output? So 100 and 200 will be go and store in x and y. First it will give you x and y. So here it will give you 300 as an output. And then self a dot self dot b. So self a means self b means it is a class level variable. Sorry, self means class level variables 10 and 20. So 10 plus 20. So this will returns 30. This will returns 30. Now print I plus j. So I and j are the global variables. So 15 plus 25. It will give you 40. Okay. So this will give you 40. So this is how we need to access global variables, class variables, and method variables. So there are three local variables: global variables, class variables, and the local variables. Now when I run this code, see now 300, 30, and 40. Got it? So global variables, class variables, and local variables. So how to access them? Local variables directly we can access by specifying variable names. Class variables we can access by using self keyword. Global variables we can directly access by specifying the variable names. Okay. Now I'll show you one more example. Suppose when I use same variable names for global variables, class variables, and local variables, what happens? How we can access them? Here I have used different names. For local variables are I and j, class variables are a and b, and local variables are x and y. But now what I can do is I will just create same variable names. Here I will use AB, and here also I will use AB, and here also I will use AB. And then how we can access those variables. Now we'll see in the next example. I will create one more example now. So this is also example for local variables, class variables, and global variables, but with the same name. With the same name. Now let's go to PyCharm once again. Now here I will create the same class one more time. So again before that I will create global variables. Let's say a comma b is equal to, let's say, okay, so here I'll just say again same 15 comma 25 same, but here this time I'm using same names for those variables. Now here I will create a class my class, and inside the class again I will define the class variables. So how we can define the class variables? A comma B. Same variables I am using. Okay, same names I am using. So here again values can be different, 10 comma 20. Now within the same class I will create a method. So def add method again. So self comma, it will also take two parameters, two arguments. Those arguments also I will create as a AB. Same names I have used. Now within this, let's try to print here. So first I will print sum of the local variables a plus b. And then I want to print sum of class variables. How to access the class variables? Again, print, we have to use a self keyword, right? Self dot a plus self dot b. So this is able to access the class variable. If I don't say self, again AB will be treated as a local variables, right? So here these are global variables, and these are all class variables. Sorry, this is a comment, right? So this is a class variables, and these are class variables, and here AB or method local variables. Here AB are local variables. AB are the local variables. Now, when I run this code, it will give you exact output here. Now, because we haven't created an object or we haven't called this method, right? Perfectly fine. So here, I have just created two global variables A and B, and local class variables also A and B, and method variables, local variables also A and B. Now, when I say A plus B here directly, it will be accessing the local variables. So this statement will access local variables. This statement will access local variables. So class variables, how we can access here? By using self keyword. So when I say self, this will access class variable. Till now everything is fine. Now observe this. If you want to access the global variables, we can directly access, right? So when I write statement like this, print a plus b. Observe this carefully. I have printed a plus b. So here I am trying to access the global variables. In the previous example also, when I accessing the global variables, I directly access them without specifying any keywords, right? But here the conflict will come. When I say here a plus b, a and b will be treated as a local variables. But here a plus b, again it will be treated as a local variables, right? But if local variables and global variable names are exactly the same, then how we can differentiate these two? So AB means this will be considered as a local variables. But how we can differentiate these local variables and the global variables? So here we have to specially say one more keyword called as a globals. Globals of, and this A we have to put in the square bracket like this and single quotations. Similarly, here also we need to use the same function called as a globals, and then we have to put this B in the single quotations like this. Okay, this is additional notation we have to follow. If global variables or local variable names are exactly the same, we have to follow this one. Suppose if we have a different names, directly we can access the global variables. Okay, here AB is there and global variable is XZ, XY. Then you can directly specify XY here without creating any globals keyword. But if your local variable names or global variable names are exactly the same, then you have to separate them, differentiate them by using globals keyword. This is our syntax. Now this will able to access global variables. Alright. Now when I call these functions or methods, when I call this one method which contains multiple print statement, right? So then I need to create an object. Let me just create an object. Let's say my class. I'll store, let's say, an object called as MC. So by using MC dot, I can call add function. So here we need to pass two parameters. So I will pass 100 comma 200. Right? Now let's run this code. Now we can see. So 100 and 200 will go and store in AB, and it produces a 300 first. So the output of this is 300. Perfectly right. And then self dot A dot self dot B. Self means class variables. So A and B, 10 plus 20, 30 as written. So this is also perfectly right. And then we are able to access the global variables here, 15 plus 25. So this returns a 40. So perfectly right. Okay, so this is how we need to access global variables, class variables, and local variables in different ways. If variable names are different, we have to go one approach. If the names are different, names are same, we have to go some approach. But even though if the names are same, so accessing the local variables, accessing the class variables, again same approach. But only the difference will be coming only with the global variables. Okay, if the local variables and global variables exactly the same, we have to differentiate them by using global schema. Okay, so that is all about global variables, class variables, and then local variables. All right, now so normally the the beginning I told you one class can have multiple objects. We can create multiple objects for the single class, right? So now we'll see that. So creating multiple object for one class. Now what I can do is I'll just remove this, go to PyCharm. So let me remove this. So I will just create a class. Let's say my class name is again my class, and in this class I will create a method. So let's say def display, and this will take self, and self says this method is belongs to my class. So in this method I will just write a simple print statement. Let us say this is, or we can just say good morning. Okay, some message I have created. So this is my class. So for this class I can create multiple objects. So how we can create here, let's say my class. So my class, so this itself is an object. Okay, and we can create one variable which will refer to this particular class. Let us say object1 is equal to my class. Similarly I can also create multiple objects. Let me create one more object. Let's say object2 here, right? Now I have created two objects now. So by using this first object obj1, I call this display method, right? And similarly by using object2, I call again same method. So both objects are different. Whenever I created objects, it will occupy different memory locations. So memory locations of these two objects are completely different. Okay, because these are the physical entities. Now when I run this code, you will get two times, because two times we have called this method by using two different objects. All right, so here we have created multiple objects for a single class. We have created multiple objects for a single class. So we can create any number of objects. As soon as I created an object, for this, suppose this is a class. So for this class, multiple objects can be created. So every object will be occupied different memory locations like this. Every object is independent. And we can also easily find out what is a memory location by using id function in Python. So I will show you in the next example. So now let's run this code, and it will give you exactly two messages, because we created multiple methods, sorry, multiple object for a single class, right? Now, so we'll see the named object and nameless object. So when I creating objects, there are two types of objects. One is named object, nameless object. So what is the difference between named object and nameless object? What is the difference between named object and a nameless object? It's very simple. So when I create an object, okay, with this some name here, okay, with this object is referring by a name. This is called as a reference variable. Reference variable. This is called as a named object. This is called as a named object. So this object is referring by using a name. So this is called as a named object. Suppose if I don't create a, I will create an object, but we don't specify any name here. Let us say this is actually object. My class, this is actually an object. So here I haven't specified any name, right? And directly I can call this method called display method. So if I don't create any reference variable for that particular object, that is called as a nameless object. We have this concept is there in Java also. This is called as a nameless object. Okay. So when I create an object, if I refer that object by using a reference name called as a named object, and when I create an object, if I don't specify any reference variable for that, is called as a nameless object. And here we can directly call this method by using nameless object without creating a reference variable. So this is a basic difference between named object and nameless object. right? Now, finally, we'll see how to check memory locations of the object. As I said before, for every class, we can create multiple objects and every object will be stored in multiple memory locations, right? So how we can find those locations for those objects? Now, let us see one more example. So here I'm going to show you that example. How to check the memory locations of the objects. How to check the memory locations of the objects. Let us see here. So first here I will just create a one class. If I want to create a multiple object, we should at least we should have one class. Class, let's say my class colon. Here I will create one method. Let's say def, right? So m1. So self is a keyword which represents m1 is belongs to my class, and inside this method I am not going to write anything, just I'll just pass it and it will just omit the body of the method. Now I will create multiple objects for this particular class. Let us say c1 is my first object. Just say my class. Okay, this is the first object. Similarly, I will also create two different objects, c1 and c2, and only I will create only two objects. And what I can do is I will create one more object, c3 reference variable, and I'll store c1 into c3. C1 itself is an object reference variable, right? The same object I will store into some other variable. So C3 also becomes a one more object. Okay, C1, C2 and C3. Now let us see the memory locations where these objects C1, C2, C3 will be stored. So if you want to see the locations, right, we have a function, Python function called as id function. So how we can use it is id of C1. id of C1. C1 is an object reference variable. So this will return the location of C1. So if you want to print this, we can just use a print command, print id of C1. Similarly, I will find out the location of other objects, let us say C2 and also C3. All right. So now let's run this code. See, now the first one is return this one. This is the value memory location. Second thing, second object, it returns this location, and the third object is returns this location. Now if you observe carefully, C1 is this one. This is the location where C1 is stored, and C2 is stored in this location. In the third point here, what I have done is C1 again stored into C3. So that means C1 and C3 will point to the same location. Now if you observe this, C1 and C3 will point to the same location because C1 is initiated into C3 also. So both reference variables are pointing to the same object. Okay. Now, if you want to check for example, C1 is C2 or equal or not, or C2 or C3 are same or not, whether they are pointing to the same location or not. Okay. If you want to verify that, we have one more keyword called is and is not. So we can use like this. Suppose I'll just print C1 is C2. C1 is C2. So what it means is C1, C2 are completely different locations, right? C1 is not C2 actually. C1 is having different location. C2 is a different location. So when I say C1 is C2, that means it returns should false. It returns should false. Okay, it returns false. So because C1, C2 are not exactly the same location, not pointing to the same location. So both are different objects. Suppose when I say C1 and C3, C1 is C3. Yes, C1 is C3, and this should return true. So when I run this, it should return true. Perfectly right. And opposite of this, suppose we have also, sorry. So we also have is not. So how we can use is not? For example, I'm using the same thing with the is not. This is a completely opposite of this. So here what I'm saying, C1 is not C2. So C1 is not C2, right? So it should return true. And C1 is not C3, but C1 is the C3 is true. But C1 is not C3 means it should return false. It should return false. It should return false, right? Now, when I run this code, it will give you false true, true false. This is a completely opposite. So this is a function. ID is a function which will return the memory location where the object is stored. Okay, so these are all a few concepts which are related to classes and objects in Python. So we will discuss the rest of the items again. We'll continue this in the second video. So that's all for this video. So thank you all. Please subscribe my channel to get more updates on this. Thank you all.